Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Happy Friday to you. And we have got a big one. We have got to react to the Michinaki Summon event, one of the hottest topics in Raid that we've seen in a long time. A new way of doing guaranteed summon events. They are back, and we are going to dive into it and everything else going on in Raid Shadow Legends, the game and the community. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, in game, obviously we've got a normal 10x going on. We talked about that in yesterday's video. You've got the 4 legendaries and the 4 epics. Now, these champions are all decent, they're pretty good, and there is a Necrit in there who is one of the best champions in the game for some of those defensive, tanky type compositions that are doing well in the arena, especially for the last 6 months or so as we trend more towards defensive teams. So Necrit is definitely a sought after champion, but the talk of the community right now is the Michinaki Summon event. Now, yesterday, Cold Brew and I did a collab here on the channel where we were predicting that the summon rush would be somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 points to acquire the Michinaki. I think Cold Brew was guessing around 12,000. I was guessing around 10,000 or just over 10,000. I thought they would actually make it like 10,250 just to make you pull that extra sacred to get in. But alas, Plarium actually just made it the 10,000 even. So it basically equates to 20 sacred shards because obviously they are worth 500 sacreds, or they're worth 500 points, sorry. And you're going to have to pull 20 of them to get the 10,000 points if you just do sacreds. Which, as you can see, if you pull up the guaranteed summon events history, that 20 is kind of where they left off with inflation. The last one they did for sacreds was for Elva Autumnborn back in November of last year. So it's been about 4 months. You've got December, January, February, March. We are in the end of March, and now we're finally getting another one. And Plarium holds true to that standard they set last with 20 sacred shard equivalent for Elva. And the reason I say it's basically a sacred summoning event in terms of a guarantee is because it is a non-void champion. You're probably drained on voids. You probably want to save your voids for one of the guaranteed events they do for voids. That leaves us with ancient shards and mystery shards. Ancient shards are horrible value on this point structure, given the price they are and how hard they are to acquire compared to how many points you're getting and all that. You definitely want to save your ancient shards for a better opportunity, in my opinion. I would try to do it with mystery shards and sacreds. Now, I did a video here on the channel talking about the power of mystery shards, and that shines through in an event like this where you've got someone like me that has saved up thousands of the mystery shards. I've got over 4,000. That means I can get like 6,000 or 7,000 points towards the event, and then I can round off with mystery shards to complete it and finish it with a cheap resource that I can acquire a bunch of over time by doing the campaign or purchasing them in the market and all of that. And if we pulled just ancient shards to complete this event, it would take 500 ancients. So hopefully, if they do one after this where it leans towards ancients or something, I hope they drop down the point requirement to 3,000, but the way they structure, like the root of the problem is they need to adjust how many points ancients are worth, because they use this point structure a lot in all of these different events and stuff. So what they need to do is make ancient shards worth like 50 or 60 and bring it up into line. I would say voids should probably be, yeah, 125, 130, somewhere around there. Ancients need to be at least 40. I would say like 40 or 50, and that's if you're leaving the two bookends the same. Like if you're leaving mystery shards as 1 and you're leaving sacreds as 500, I would definitely say there needs to be an adjustment to ancients here because they just don't end up being worth it for these kind of events. But then as far as should you pull, I mean, Michinaki is a really good champion. He's just very, very solid. We've got his grades pretty well-rounded here. Now, Hydra, you could argue, me and Colbert were talking about this yesterday in our video, you could argue Hydra could bump up to maybe even an 85 or 86. So he can definitely go in at least one of people's 3 Hydra teams for sure. And he is just generally useful, generally solid. He's pretty good in some of the hard dungeons. We could bump up his grades, maybe a little bit on like the spider and a few of the dungeons because he brings some utility there. So, the thing is, I don't think he's like a Duchess type champion, a Kymar, but there's only like 4 or 5 of those. He's not going to be an Acrisia, or he's probably not one of those like top 5, top 6 absolute game-changing champions in the game, but he is extremely solid. And for people that are struggling to still kind of round out their roster and get all of their Hydra teams online, their Clan Boss, their Demon Lord, all of that stuff, I do think Michinaki would be a good addition for a lot of those accounts. But also, before we leave the screen, I do want to mention that if you do, for some reason, go the void shard route, it would take like 84 voids to, so when you actually think about it, It's a little bit better than the typical price that we see of 110 for the guaranteeds on Void Champions. But the problem is you're not getting a Void Champion, you're getting a non-Void Champion, and you're not really double dipping with anything. So even though on the surface, you could say, like, I mean, you can get Michinaki for 84 voids. That's better than the typical guaranteeds. I still think you would want to go with mysteries and sacreds as far as if you're going to be participating in this event. And I've been also trying to go through and see how the community is reacting to this, like reading on Discord and reading on Reddit and stuff like that. And it seems like people are receiving this a little bit more positively than I would have thought on the surface. It seems like some people are saying, okay, this event is pretty good, and if you can get through it, you probably should. We've got this massively uploaded comment here that says actually pretty good. With Elva, it was 19 champs, and the 20th would be Elva. Now it's 20 champs, all other rewards in the Summon Rush, and enough shards to pull Michinaki during CVC. They're talking about the fragments there. Since it is fragments, you can save up and pull the champion during CVC and get a nice boon of points coming in. And then what they're talking about with the 19 champs versus 20 is during the guaranteed summon events, the way that it works is that last shard is guaranteed to be that champion. So you basically waste that shard because you're just kind of pulling it to finish the event, and you know that you're going to be getting that on the last shard, which that isn't the case right now. On your 20th shard, you can get another legendary besides Michinaki, so you could actually get 2 legendaries on that last shard, and that's kind of what they're talking about there. So some people actually pointing out some positives and some reasons they like this better. But they also go on to say that in addition, you can use other shards. I have a few thousand mystery shards lying around that I can use to feed into other champs, as this event coincides with champ training event as well. And I'll save up on some sacreds like that by rounding out with the mystery shards they mean. And then all in all, not a bad event in my opinion, though obviously tailored to endgame players. And I think this event, or I think this comment is mostly based and some pretty good analysis of what is going on, and thus the upvotes here. So I did kind of read through, and I'll also get a poll over on the community tab of the channel so that you can voice your opinion here, and then I will talk about it in future videos, and we'll see how you feel about the Michinaki event, because this is the first time that we're seeing an event for a guaranteed champion kind of structured like this. And then lastly, for me personally, am I gonna pull for Michinaki? You know what? I'm gonna need to think about it. I'm on the fence. I'm like honestly 50-50 right now. I said the same thing for Supreme Kale. If I had more voids, I would have pulled for Supreme Kale. If I had 50, 60, 70 voids, I would have probably YOLO'd it and went for Supreme Kale, but I had like 30, so I just couldn't get it done. For this one, I do have the resources, so I would say I'm 50-50. The problem is I've already kind of got my Hydra teams and my Demon Lord team, obviously, and all of that set up. So for me to go after a champion, they have to help me, like, either get to stage 10 of a hard dungeon, which I've already gotten to all of them except maybe like Fire Knight. I'm at like stage 9 of hard. So like they basically have to help me progress in arena and prepare for the live arena, or else I don't really need them in all honesty. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of math and a little bit of consideration with some friends and some teammates and stuff. I might go live and chat with you, so I will keep you in the loop on if I decide to actually go for the Michinaki here or not. And then for some of the other stuff going on in game, the tournaments and events and stuff like that, pretty normal stuff. Not a whole lot of stuff to take note of here. It's just your 4th anniversary typical stuff. But you also, like the person said on Reddit, you can double dip a little bit with the champion training if you're willing to spend a bunch of those mystery shards and kind of go the long game route here over the next couple days when it comes to finishing that summoner rush that we were just talking about that's going on over the course of the weekend. All the other stuff is mostly normal. There's probably going to be a few things that happen next week. We'll probably get a test server for the live arena where they will invite some creators to kind of battle against each other and test some of the kinks in the live arena. I expect that to go live within probably like 1 or 2 months. We'll probably see the live arena, and we should be getting a test server pretty soon. Also next week, we will probably hear about what the next fragment summon fusion type champion is going to be, because they typically do them at a clip of about once a month, and we just had the Supreme Elhain fragments finish up. I rounded out the last 5 right here that are sitting in my inbox, so I can probably hold off and wait and claim Supreme Elhain in about 11 days when there is that next CVC. So if I do go for Michinaki, I'll wait, and then I'll double dip, claim my Supreme Elhain and my Michinaki to get a bunch. It'll be like 60k points or something to start my next CVC. And then as we dive into the shop, what do we got going on here? The variety string pack with 6 things here. I mean, that last one's nice, but it always is. That's how they get you. This is not gonna be worth it. Oh, this is underwhelming. This is the shop today, really, during the guaranteed. Special strings. So you've got your ancients. We don't want ancients for this event this weekend. Ancients are going to have a really low value this weekend. Sacreds will have a little bit of a boost to their value. The voids. That last one's obviously really good, but again, that's how they get you kind of there. Unfortunately, I don't see anything super good in the shop. It'd be like, I mean, the monthly pack, you only get one sacred though. So yeah, there really isn't anything that's worth a deep dive discussion in the shop, unfortunately. Oh, wait, I have this pop up on my way out. Again, this is okay for high spenders, but this weekend we're going to be prioritizing probably like mystery shards and sacred shards. So not the best time to go after kind of grading something like this. And also, I will link down below. We've got a text version kind of breaking down the pros and the cons of the Michinaki event and a whole article deep dive about that if you would rather see a text version instead of a video. I'll link to that down below for you. But yeah, that is going to do it for this one. And remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Raid Shadow Legends content. I will try to get a live stream done and hang out with you on Twitch and the live section of this channel if I can get time to do that today and talk about all the Michinaki madness. And I will also host a poll over on the community tab of this channel so we can get a feeling for how many of you are going to be trying to go after this event compared to some of the other stuff that we've seen in game recently. So I appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your Friday. I will see you soon in the next video and the streams and all that good stuff. Peace.